Hello everyone, this is Howard Dare. Thanks for stopping by. So, I want to talk about the perfect princess picture that the mainstream media, Hollywood, feminists, leftist, globalists put forth regarding the perfect princess image of women. Because I think we all know and we all agree that it's a bunch of bullshit. But it is this idea of women as these perfect angels and as these forever victims of the patriarchy that enables this type of insane feminist mindset and leads to what I call the toxic female. So, I want to talk about 10 women who murder. Now, these are women that have been charged with murdering their children, their partners, and parents. This is very gruesome stuff. So, here we go. Number 10, Beverly Allett. When a pediatric nurse goes bad, who can you trust? Crime. A trusted nurse preys upon the young children in her ward, attacking 9 and taking the lives of 4. She is diagnosed with Munchausen by proxy syndrome, a disorder which causes an individual to seek attention by causing illness or physical harm to others. Method: insulin and potassium injections. Interesting fact: Allett murdered 13 children in 15 days. Punishment: 13 life sentences in a top security mental facility in England. Number 9, Velma Barfield. A mother, grandmother, and church attendee, she is the least likely suspect in a series of mysterious deaths. Crime. A church-going middle-aged mother and grandmother keeps losing the people she loves, including her mother and boyfriend, until authorities discover she is the one behind their deaths. Method: arsenic poisoning. Interesting fact: Barfield is quoted as saying, "I only meant to make him sick." Punishment: received the death penalty by lethal injection on November 2nd, 1984. Number 8, Lizzie Borden. Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. A 19th century spinster is charged with murdering her father and stepmother, but she's acquitted when not enough evidence can be found. Method: hatchet. Interesting fact: the house where the murders took place is now the home of a bed and breakfast. Punishment: acquitted. The legendary crime goes unsolved to this day. Number 7, Mary Ann Cotton. Mysterious symptoms and eventual deaths go unnoticed for quite some time until Mary Ann Cotton is found out. Crime: a 19th century serial killer responsible for the deaths of 4 husbands and 12 children. Method: arsenic poisoning. Interesting fact: Cotton's victims all suffered from stomach problems and were believed to have intestinal disorders before an autopsy was carried out on her final victim, one of her deceased husband's children. Punishment: hanging. Number 6, Diane Downs. Crime: a mother shoots her 3 children, paralyzing 2 and murdering 1, allegedly in an attempt to get closer to her Arizona boyfriend. Method: gun. Interesting fact: Downs' 2 surviving children went to live with one of the prosecutors of her case. Punishment: life in prison plus 50 years. Number 5, Antoinette Frank. Crime: a New Orleans police officer robs a restaurant and murders 3 people, including her police officer partner. Method: gun. Punishment: death penalty. Number 4, Bella Gunness. Crime: a 19th century serial killer, originally from Norway, takes the lives of her daughters and is believed to have killed more than 20 people in her lifetime, with the motive of collecting their life insurance policies. Method: numerous, including arson and poison, never proven. Interesting fact: Gunness is believed to have been found dead, headless, in her own home during a house fire. Authorities could never officially determine the body's identity. Punishment: never convicted. Number 3, Catherine Knight. An Australian woman murders her husband in cold blood and tries to feed his body to their children. The police arrive before the meal took place. Method: stabbing by knife and decapitation. Interesting fact: Knight had a history of violence and killed her husband's puppy prior to her spouse's murder. Punishment: life in prison without parole. Number 2, Judith Ann Nelly. An 18-year-old woman convinces her husband that they should go on a killing spree together. Method: gun and injections of liquid drain cleaner. Interesting fact: the Nellies called themselves Boney and Claude. Punishment: sentenced to death, commuted to life in prison. Number 1, Carolyn Warmus. Crime: an heiress takes the life of her lover's wife in a jealous rage. Method: gun. Interesting fact: Warm has had a history of stalking boyfriends and hiring private detectives to determine their whereabouts. Punishment, 25 years to life in prison. Okay, so there you go. A list of 10 women who murder. And, this list wasn't in order of infamy, and it was by no means, a list of an exhaustive list. There's a lot more cases. This was just one of the lists that I could find handy, and I'll point to the website where I found it in the description below. But the interesting part about this is that there is this effort, this illusion to portray women as some sort of perfect being, some sort of divine creature, when the truth is they're just as brutal, they're just as vicious, they're just as capable of violence as any man, and they just have their own way of expressing it. And it's fascinating that many men within society can't see this side of female nature. They can't acknowledge it. And if you think about the issue, I think it makes sense, because if the man were able to see this side of female nature, he would have to admit to this aspect of female nature. It is something that by nature we almost keep hidden from ourselves. It's something that the young male child hides from himself, no matter how abusive his mother is. So we are men who were raised, and no matter what the situations were, we tried to say, oh, she still loves me. And for the man to eventually say, no, she did not love me, requires this fundamental MGTOW shift in his perception of the world. And it needs to happen before he falls prey and victim to these types of women, or before he falls prey and victim to other men who are unable to see the true nature of women, that they are just as capable, of evil and of crime as anyone else, that they don't deserve lighter sentences or special considerations, and that this tendency to see them in this light is in fact part of the problem. And this is part of the MGTOW message, to say you're not dealing with a Disney princess. You're not dealing with someone who just automatically loves children and loves puppies, as the video illustrated. And men, through media, through political correctness, through conditioning, through social conditioning, are expected to believe that women are somehow special creatures, and they're constant victims, and they deserve all this sort of special credit. When the truth is, the reality is no, they're just human beings capable of just as much brutality and inhumanity as any man. They just have a different way of going about it. So I wanted to illustrate that point, and kind of bring that out to everyone. So in closing, I don't think it does the man any good to hide the true aspect of female nature from himself, to delude himself, even though society, media, culture, the people around you want you to adopt this image of women. And the women even go around and they act as if they have this, kind of pussy pass, this kind of get out of jail free card, this kind of moral superiority, that their motives are unquestioned, and yet I don't think this is the case, because they're certainly emotional, their abuse is often less obvious. It's often emotional. It's often through relational aggression. It is also through parent alienation, through political attacks, through social attacks, through using the institutions, the social institutions, to punish and to victimize the people who don't go along with her sense of entitlement. And this is what creates the toxic female. And we witness this to various degrees within women. So the angry feminist, the elderly angry feminist is about as toxic as you can get, and then it just, and it potentially escalates to this new level of true female violence. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. Let me know what you think about this in the comments section below. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, donate, and join me again, Howard Dare, as I plan to have more content for you. Thank you, everyone.